Welcome to Pursuing the Muse. Today we're joined by Nathan Evans Fox, a musician whose brand of country blends Appalachian roots with deep empathy. Stay tuned as we discuss the raw emotion of Nathan becoming a father while losing his own in the same year. We'll also explore his inventive rewilding of the banjo. And we'll hear all about his beautiful new album, Heirloom, out now. Pick it up today.
Welcome to the world, dear. There's an awful lot to show you. There's so much that I hold dear. Well, that now includes you. We gave you your name, cause it means that you can do hard things. We gave you your name, cause we don't say it the same way. There's lots of beginnings. Phone in my pocket, bills on my mind, eyes to the ground, looking for signs. And I work for rich men, biding our time till Jubilee comes. So tell me, why do I keep catching these feelings, mapping my exits and detouring off deep ends? Cause I know the last things that I know are all of my reasons. Until then I'm content with the meanness of a meaning.
All right, Tom Compton here again with Pursuing the Muse. Today, I'm excited. Nathan Evans Fox is with us. Nathan, how are you?
I'm good. I'm in the throes of dadhood right now, so I'm exhausted, but it's good to be exhausted by critters that you love.
There you go. And maybe your exhaustion will help you reveal secrets of your music that you otherwise wouldn't.
A little sleep drunk.
There you go.
Sleep drunk confessions.
Exactly. The truth comes out late night with Nathan.
That's right.
All right. So you got a new album coming out, Heirloom, and it is. I'm gonna say, man, this record is not just a great record. It's a really beautiful record. It's elegant. It's sophisticated, and I think it tells a story that is very timely of people struggling, finding their way, and I think with a record like this, you realize, you're not alone. So thank you for this record. It's really great.
Thank you. That means a lot. I write very autobiographically. Like I'm not good at writing impersonal songs. And so it always is like, there's always a risk involved in putting out a new song or a new record, because everything that I put out, it's like, I hope that it is interesting to eavesdrop. Like I hope that there's something that connects with you in eavesdropping. All my favorite writers are very like autobiographical writers, and so like I know that it's not impossible. Like all my favorite records are ones where I feel like I'm eavesdropping and I learn a lot about myself and feel a real connection to that. But there's always still that risk, so it really means a lot that it is that it connects.
Yeah, I feel there's vulnerability, and this record is so intimate because you use dynamics really well. I mean, you've got a few up-tempo songs, but there are some really stripped down stuff, and you really get into the emoting. Like in terms of your vocals, the last track, I know the end. I could really hear the emotion in your singing there.
Thank you. Yeah, that one was that's about probably the rawest song on the record. That and Negative Space. That was one of those where it's like, we just got to sell it because it's true. I mean, the record is about becoming a dad and losing my dad in the same year, and thinking about the kinds of like inheritances that we have, and not just kind of personal inheritance, but political inheritances, the ways that things, the ways that all forms of power and all the things that we've been through sort themselves out in our family systems. And so that song is incredibly personal. So I'm glad that it lands. I was one of those where like, I mean, it was really grueling to make that song because it was so emotional. I mean, it's a good thing that like we were in my basement recording most of that, and it was me and my producer, I'm a very good friend with, who was like here for, you know, me becoming a dad and when my dad died and all that. And so there was a kind of like vulnerability that I could entrust with them. So yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, and that song kind of does one of those things where you hear in records every now and then. The end kind of ties back to the beginning because you're kind of on the outro. There lots of beginnings, and lots of beginnings is the first song on the record.
Yeah, no, it fully loops back. We even work it back up to the same tempo, and it's the same chord progression. And I wrote the first song, Lots of Beginnings, as I was writing I Know the End. Like that was kind of an extended outro, and it ended up becoming its own song. And so I realized in writing that, I was like, well, wouldn't it be really cool if I'm titling this album Heirloom, where the former season is connected to the future season, and the history and history and future are kind of caught together in this one thing, and there's this kind of loop to it. Wouldn't it be cool if the album loops? And so, you know, tried to make like the album itself a bit of an heirloom.
That is so cool, the way the song evolved that way. I mean, that's so perfect.
Half of being an artist is just like working with the accidents that you get, you know?
Right. Yeah. See like something emerge out of the mist, and it's like more perfect than if you had like scripted it or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So excellent. And then, I mean, it feels like Lots of Beginnings is you kind of singing to your child, setting a stage. And how directly does that connect to the track Heirloom, which is kind of visits that same kind of world of what we're leaving behind?
So yeah, I mean, I think I've always written, you know, part of writing, like I say, I write autobiographically, but like it's kind of not to put like a postmodern grad student spin on it, but it's like auto/biographically. Like I really I come from like the country, and so like I wasn't raised super individualist, you know. I wasn't raised to think of myself in like very isolated terms. So when I think about myself, I think about the people that I love, the place that I'm from, you know, like all these connections. So when I say I write autobiographical, like I've always written about family and about kinship and about friends and all these things. And so, you know, there's themes in like that track in Heirloom and the title track that are in my first record and in my second record and in my third record, that go all the way back. But that song was written while we were pregnant, while we were expecting our first kid, who's now a toddler. And so that was this kind of like real, that song was just anxious and stressed about what it means to bring a kid into the world. This, you know, you can't control much about the world. And frankly, you can't control much about what you've inherited from society and from your family and all that. I mean, it's, you know, you do the best to like play the hand that you're dealt, but you're still dealt a certain hand. And so there's this kind of anxiety about like, what can I control? What are my responsibilities to you? Is it worth it to like make you be here? You can't consent to being alive. You know, you're just forced out here. And so that song was kind of written in that period of like, I sometimes tell people this is like the equivalent of a 9-month panic attack. And then Lots of Beginnings was written like after my dad had died. It was written like my kid was probably 9 months to a year old when I wrote that song. And so you can, so like, I think you can even hear a perspectival shift in it where like Heirloom is a little more kind of abstract and like hypothetical, like a lot of what ifs.
Right.
And, and Lots of Beginnings is like, hey, you're here. these are my hopes for you as like a person that I know now that is like we have a history. Like I introduced you to my dad while he was in hospice, you know, like I have pictures of like him holding you with his oxygen tube in, and like I had to hand you off so like we could go bury him. You know what I mean? Like there's just like you've been in this history now. You're part of this story that's like very concrete.
Sure.
And I also have less anxiety because there's not as many what ifs.
Right.
There's just like the next fire you got to put out.
Right. Is the Jubilee that's mentioned in Heirloom, is that a reference to the impending birth of the child, or is that something more vague?
That I mean, that's just a reference to like the kind of old school biblical notion of Jubilee, every 7 years letting the land rewild and forgiving debts. And just that is like a, you know, it never happened historically, but it was written about in the Hebrew Bible as kind of like a social goal. And so you know, for me, a lot of my music is so political, and you know, even the personal stuff is always kind of threaded with a lot of kind of like politics and values and things like that. So yeah, Jubilee just means Jubilee. It just means like when debts will be forgiven, when there's a sense of like liberation, when we see the end of like exploitation, when I don't have to worry about my kid being born you know, a woman being born a girl, and like how she'll be treated in a society that preferences men and tends to teach men to be violent.
Okay.
All of that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I mean, with the anxiety in the song, I kind of wondered if Jubilee was like a delusion, a waiting for something ideal, and yet it may never come.
Yeah. I mean, there's always that tension with Jubilee where it's like, you know, will the revolution come? Will utopia happen? Will Jubilee happen? You know, that's in like, you know, there's a kind of like eschatology to it. So yeah, I mean, there's a notion that like Jubilee may or may not be real. It may not be something that's realized. And so what does it mean to sit in the like, in the waiting and in the kind of the possibility, and even just the possibility that it may be real, like true possibility. So yeah, I like it's not, the reality of Jubilee, like the certainty of it is never, it's never there. It's never like just sitting out there like that.
Right. No guarantees.
No guarantees.
Now, banjo is like this prevalent instrument on the record. It's almost like kind of it's percussive at times, muted at times. Is there something, are you building around the banjo for the record, or is it just something that you like to play and so it weaves a thread throughout the record?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because banjo is such an important part of this record for me in a number of ways. Well, first of all, I think banjo is just an incredible instrument. I've written a piece on my Substack about how banjo played an important role in me losing my religion. Like it means so much to me. But it's also just such an incredibly versatile instrument. Like it is melodic and percussive. I mean, it's literally like a melodic instrument that is built around a drum. So it kind of sits in all these interesting places. It's also a way of like marking like genre for me and like a cultural location.
Yeah.
Like it keeps things, I feel like I am country. I feel like my music is country. I think it's indie country. It's not like it sits in its own pocket of country, but like every part of country has a kind of subgenre to it. But the banjo is a way of saying like keeping it within genre. Like it's a point of continuity across all these songs, because you've got like Landlord's Billy, etc., which has like a pretty kind of like honky tonk feel to it.
Yeah.
And then you've got something like Meanness or Negative Space, which have more of kind of like an indie rock feel to them. And so the banjo is this point of like, it's always country. But we're also not going to like do this kind of nostalgia thing with the banjo. We're not going to, because I hate nostalgia in general. And I also think like that shit gets so corny so fast. And also like, I don't want to, you know, telling the label when I was pitching the record, I'm like, we did the banjo treatment on this song this way, or this song that was this way, to avoid putting this record into stomp and holler hell. Like the banjo is so cool, and so much of like kind of rootsy music is so cool, but it ends up just being so like conservative.
Sure.
Like just sonically so conservative.
Right.
And I can't stand that. Like country music is a living tradition. Being in the country is not being lost in the past. It is living in the present.
Right.
And so banjo for me is like this thing that is really cool, because if you need something that's going to be percussive and all, like it sits sonically really nicely, and also the kind of like what it does culturally and symbolically is also really cool. So I think of it as like something that fills a really nice sonic niche, but also like I want people to notice that like we put chorus on banjo and put it down in the mix almost like an arpeggiated synth.
Sure.
I want people to hear the ways that we muted it and treated it like a kind of like rubber bridge hipster electric guitar. I want people to hear the ways that we bowed it so that it would feel like this kind of like dirgy drone thing. The ways that there's like a real love for the banjo as this cultural inheritance that we have. But also it's not trapped in amber. Like it's contemporary and it's here and it's something you can still play with.
Yeah, it has a freshness to it. And it's inventive. So that helps the record to have a modern feel while also kind of coming from a rootsy place at the same time.
Yeah, thank you. The only thing I told I told people, like I think I told the label, like we pushed the banjo and did as much as we could with it. The one time it actually went wrong was we tried to do a noise solo on Race Car, like a noise banjo solo.
Okay.
And that was also the one time that we fully broke my producer. Like the producer was like, okay, you're going to go out, like came back in the room livid. You're going to go out, you're going to play this part, and then we're quitting for the day. And
wow.
We were out there, and I play some of the banjo on the record, and then my normal banjo player plays the other banjo, but and we're out there and we're like trying to hold the banjo in front of an amp and get feedback, and then I'm like detuning all of the strings to try to get it really squirrely, and meanwhile my banjo player is just playing the intro lick to Dueling Banjos over top of it too. It was
that's outstanding.
Otherwise everything else we tried went really well, but that one was cursed.
Right. Well, good for you for trying, man.
Thanks.
Push those edges.
That's right.
How do you feel about players like Bella Fleck that kind of do a little speed virtuosity on the banjo?
I mean, I respect it. It's not like my taste. But that's just the thing. Like, I don't get into virtuosic stuff very much. Like shreddy kind of stuff just isn't my vibe. Like I'm a true songwriter and kind of like I just like kind of pocket and vibe.
Right.
But like, I mean, he's killer. If he ever wants to play on my record or let me open for him, I would never say no.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't see like a speed banjo serving the song.
Right.
It's more like look at me a lot of times. So
yeah. I mean, he's done a lot of things to be like, to like really advance the banjo and do a lot of like cool inventive stuff and introduce the banjo into lots of different musical conversations. But
yeah,
I also kind of like that. Like I banjo, my preference is more like I really love a really like delicately melodically rich kind of claw hammer feel. To me, there's nothing better than that. And then I also love a straightforward, just Scruggs style, like just playing the licks.
Yeah, driving that song. Yeah. That's awesome. So you mentioned the song Meanness, and now when I heard Meanness, I could almost hear it as like Chris Knight singing it.
Oh,
like it's got kind of that attitude, little edge.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you going for with Meanness? Because you're talking about the content with the meanness of a meaning.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that song, that's probably the most deliberately opaque song I have on the record. And so the thing about that song is I didn't plan on recording it. Because I also don't do songs that are normally that kind of like pace and approach. And when we had kind of first started the record, I'd told my producer, like, here's the songs I got. And normally, you know, like if you've got, I think we started looking at like 16 or 17 songs. And I was like, before you leave, I've also got this thing. I should just run it by you as like we owe it to ourselves to like, you know, make sure that we've just gone through everything. We've been pretty comprehensive. But I don't think this is anything. I don't think this is who I am. And my producer was like, no, you have to cut that. And I'm really glad they said it. But I just had a kind of wariness to it because it sounds a little bit too much like like worship music.
Okay.
It has a kind of like a thing to it that I didn't really want to like lean into. But my producer's like, you just don't have songs where you really dig in. Like I've got songs that have some attitude to them, but I don't have any that like where I'm really like kind of like, I don't want to say I'm belting because I'm not a singer in that way.
Right.
But just that kind of like digging in and kind of just finding some drive and trying to just kind of send it real big. But it's been good. It's been a really good leaf for me to turn over, and it's a really fun song to play live. I've come to really embrace it. So
not bad.
That's part of the reason why I got a producer for this record. Yeah, because I was like, I need someone to push me because I'm feeling a little stuck in my tastes and in my choices.
Nice. And who was the producer on this?
Zachary Hamilton.
Okay.
So Zachary's produced a number of things, and has a solo project called June, Jeun, and is more of like Zachary for the longest time played with their sister Abby Hamilton up in Kentucky, and which is kind of like I call Abby's music like country Radiohead, and then Zachary's thing is this like shoegaze, like fun stuff, and they're doing all these, you know, like all the chords and all the stuff. But Zachary has this like range of knowing country, knowing folk, knowing all those traditions, knowing like the Kentucky country scene, which is one of my favorite country scenes, to be honest. And then also knowing like, you know, loving the McGee stuff and loving the like shoegaze stuff and like all this kind of other stuff. So and it's like a big Prince fan, you know. So I was looking for someone who could be like really literate and in the kind of stuff that the genre I'm in, but not feel, because so many people are just like, well, let's make it sound vintage and alt and whatever, and we'll make it twangy in a way that kind of is like cheeky. And I was like, I want someone that can be inventive, like that it feels contemporary.
Okay.
And so I've been really happy working with Zachary.
Yeah. Is the Kentucky scene centered around like Lexington?
So Zachary's from Lexington. The Kentucky scene is kind of funny. I want to think like, and like they're going to be mad. No matter what I say, I'm going to misrepresent it. And they're very, and understandably, they are very like, this is our scene. Don't talk mess about our scene. I know that Louisville's got a big scene. I don't think that's necessarily the country scene, but I know like Lexington and East.
Okay.
There's an awful lot of folks who are doing cool country stuff. I'm not sure exactly where everybody ends up settling out in that map.
Sure.
And it tends to kind of bleed over into West Virginia a good bit too.
Okay. Yeah, and it seems like Meanness on the record kind of is a nice change of pace in between the heaviness of Negative Space and Hillbilly Hymn. Was that intentional in the tracking and the sequencing?
Yeah, well, I think of it a little bit like, I had a friend years ago just say like, you need to think of your record like an A-side and a B-side. And so like, what do you want in your A-side? And think of that as like a kind of complete thing. And then your B-side, like, where do you start that and end that arc? The funny thing about, I just knew that Meanness was not an A-side song. I like it. It needs to be B-side, and there needs to be a little bit of somewhere on the back end, but it doesn't quite sit with the songs that need to be on the front end. Okay. But what's funny is that Hillbilly Hymn, I had the record completely done before Hillbilly Hymn went viral. I hadn't even written Hillbilly Hymn, and so we had a different song there that was very low energy, and I kept feeling like the record just like dropped off, because we had a song that was like kind of 2 acoustic guitars. It was like this very sad kind of love song that's about just like the heaviness of living, you know. And I always just felt like it's just weird to go down to do like negative space and then come way up with Meanness and then just go really far down. And so when Hillbilly Hymn came along, I was like, this actually feels like a better kind of transition, because there's still a lot of energy in Hillbilly Hymn, but it's not as, Hillbilly Hymn is so melodramatic, but it's not got the kind of drums and the big production in a way that Meanness does.
Right.
So it honestly felt really right when we fit Hillbilly Hymn in there and took out the other song.
Right. So where I'm seeing Meanness transitioning negative space to Hillbilly Hymn, it might be more accurate to say Hillbilly Hymn is like buffering the descent from Meanness.
Yeah, exactly.
To thinking about quitting number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those tracks 10 and 11 with Thinking About Quitting and Jesus and the Buck, those are kind of heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yes. Thinking about quitting, I was working a job that was just about to kill me, and it was while we had a young kid and my dad was dying. And I got out of the shower one day and looked in the mirror, and I just had these giant dark circles under my eyes, and I was just feeling completely numb. And I looked at myself and I was like, I'm not tired. I just got dark circles under my eyes. Like, you know, it's kind of this, it's the thing you tell yourself when you're just in like a terrible spot and you know that you don't have time to like check in on yourself. Like, because sometimes in life you really don't. Sometimes in life it's like, I've just got to get to the next thing, because if I stop now, I lose all momentum and I fall apart. But I was like, man, I just caught myself for a minute and I was like, I'm not well, but I don't have time to think about that. And that song just came out of that. Like, was it I can't remember the exact line, but I
can't fix what ain't broke kind of thing.
Can't fix what ain't broke. All of that. Yeah. My eyes are just getting dark. That line is just like, my eyes are just getting dark. That's all it is. My eyes are just getting dark.
Some heavy denial going on there, but it's like, what else can you do?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I remember writing and just thinking like, man, this is such a, if you actually listen to it, this song is a scary cry for help.
Right.
Just the opening lines, like, I'd do anything for a ride in a cop car if it would bring me home. Like, that's
right. Yes. Put that.
What a crash out.
That puts things in perspective right there. Yeah. Oh man. So, on side 1, it's not as heavy. It's kind of building that direction, but a song like Sevendust is kind of it's starting to set a dark tone. Would you say, because it's an Insecticide, and it seems like what I've read in some of the press is like it's about, you know, taking your family but at the expense of the wider culture. And is that, I mean, what statement are you making? Like, is it like a snapshot? Is it a call to action? Where are you going with Sevendust?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about it in that way. In part, I think I just needed to maybe tell it to myself. Sometimes you find an idea and it's like, this really helps me just make sense of what this is for me. I've got a number of folks, like relatives, on all sides of my family, who I spent the last couple years hearing from, and they'd either be really nice to me, and be involved in some crazy right-wing politics, and not just like your uncle at the table saying crazy stuff, but like they were involved, you know, like they were making decisions that affected people's lives and didn't care. Or people who would say like, I love you until they disagree with you, and then they just start tearing you down. Not just like we disagree, but like, I'm just going to hurl insults at you. But I love you. It's like, no, if you love me, we have to at least be civil.
Sure.
So, you know, kind of seeing all these things, then also seeing the ways that like, when I chose to like live in a way that was consistent with my values, some people found me unrecognizable. And I'm like, but these are the values you gave to me. I just applied them outside of like our private little world. I started treating more people like family. Like I started making actual kinship with people. And so thinking about Sevendust was just a really helpful way of realizing like there are kinds of love that will spoil you. And they will also kill everything else.
Yeah.
And you don't have to ever say that like the love that spoils you is good. You don't have to be grateful for it. You don't have to be indebted to it. You don't have to like continue to try to like honor it. You can just be like, that's Sevendust. Like you took care of me, but at a terrible expense.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's not worth it. And it's not something that like I need to perpetuate either.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not just one anecdote. It's like all of these different, it was just this season of like 4 or 5 different experiences and encounters with people, and just being like, I need something that helps me make sense of this whole just morass of mess.
Right. And that song almost like strikes me in a way where I can see that a lot of times I'm looking out for my family, you know, my kids, myself, my wife, and you know, we're kind of like circling the wagons, you know, because to think wider than that becomes overwhelming. And it can be like, okay, if I can limit myself to worrying about this small collection, maybe I can let myself off the hook. But what you said a couple minutes ago about expanding the idea of family and seeing more people as family is a really cool concept that I think will be something I need to take away from, because I could probably learn from this song. So that's very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, I mean, this also touches on something that's like so at the center of honestly I think all my records, which is that like, you know, as someone who is very much like a dad with a nuclear family, I also see the ways that the nuclear family is a trap for a lot of people. Like it induces them to quietism. It makes them like very private and insular with their life. It gives you a sense of like, well, as long as I'm right with my people, I can middle finger the rest of the world. And like, I tend to think that your family, the best way to do family, is to think of your family as the place where you like have to practice the most. And it's it's like your rehearsal space. And it's the place where you like learn how to be just, empathic, caring, to have solidarity, to like make sure that people are fed. Because you're doing it every day, because it really builds habits, because it's the hardest way that you're doing it. You're doing it with no like, you're doing it when you're tired. Like, I literally think my toddler's screaming upstairs right now. Like, I'm having to practice being patient, like in this moment. And these are all things that are like helpful just as like a person and as a member of society. And so like my family is the first place that I practice and learn and build those skills. And it's also like a good starting point for like my empathy, you know, like you see kids suffer in the news, and like sometimes it's like I need to remember that like that is the way that I love my kids is like the way that someone loves their kid who's being starved or bombed or whatever. And seeing my kids as a part of the world is like That's a big part of it to me.
Yeah, it's kind of mind blowing in a way. I mean,
It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're talking about an empathetic perspective. Now, you prior to being a full-time musician, you were a hospital chaplain, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was for a long time.
How did that help your empathy grow? I mean, obviously it had to have.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine, some of the stuff you saw in that setting.
Yeah. And just to be clear, because people have a lot of misconceptions about it, my first thing every time I knock on a door in the hospital is be like, I'm not here to convert you or tell you anything about your life. I just know being here is hard, and I'm someone to talk to, like that, because that's literally it. That wasn't a sell. That was literally it. People's like values come out in times of crisis and trauma and death. Like that's all it is. So whatever, you could be non-religious, you could be as religious as you want, you could be any religion that you want, doesn't matter. I'm just here to like support you in ways that feel right and organic to you. So it was a lot of like working in situations of trauma, violence, of grief, of disability, of loss. And really my job was to be a professional empath in a place where empathy's kind of hard to come by. And so, yeah, I mean, that's affected me in so many ways. One, I don't have time to, like, I was telling somebody the other day, like, I just don't have time to sing songs that are about selling Jello shots at the bar. Like, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not the right person for that. Because I'm too, everything I see laden with grief, and I see laden with like the ways that our empathy and our coping is attached to our place in the world, is attached to our identities, to our communities, to our values. All these things are inflected in the ways that we deal with even the most private experiences. The other thing for me is that you see enough suffering in the U.S. and you realize that while it may not be deliberate, there's an awful lot of neglect and carelessness in the ways that this society and this order is run. And so you see a lot of people, and I work with mostly kids, you see a lot of kids that die because of bad policy. You see a lot of kids that die because of carelessness. And even when there are just tragedies, you see families leave in massive amounts of debt, understanding that like the only way that they could have fought for their kid is to now leave with life crippling debt, and that their grief is materialized into something that they will spend the rest of their life working off. And so it also kind of like the thing that chaplaincy taught me is that empathy is absolutely required to be a human, and also it's just not enough, because at the end of the day I empathize with a lot of people, but I also needed a sense of solidarity to make sure that like their griefs aren't just diffused into their private lives, that like the systems of debt and violence that meant that their children died, that meant that disability was a life inhibiting reality for them, that those things feed back into like policy, those things feed back into community, those things feed back into equity, that there has to always be a sense of solidarity that's accompanying your empathy.
Right. Do you get a sense that you almost have a mission at this point to point these things out because the world isn't really listening?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty like, I think I have a kind of blue collar understanding of songs. Like I don't, I'm not like an artist type. I get really annoyed with artist types. I don't really care about me being the most unique and expressive person in the room. I need to know that my songs are getting some work done, and that they're connecting with people, and that they're being a kind of medicine. So like, you know, I guess you could call it a mission. I just feel like I have an unction. Like I have a I do. I mean, I have an anger. Like, I have a real anger at the things that I saw, and I also have a sense of profound sadness. And all that is an expression of care, and I refuse to turn that off.
Do you have a sense that things are improving, or is that something you're still hoping to see down the road?
Well, they're improving for me because I'm everybody's recession indicator. My career's doing better because the world's doing worse. I don't know. I mean, I think we could say pretty objectively that, like, a lot of things are in decline. The planet's not doing great. People's medical debt is all-time low. Jobs are not great, and people are getting worked pretty hard. And at the same time, like, my bigger concern is about building places where people can metabolize that pain into something meaningful, into something that, like, does affect a kind of change, and also ties into, like, that solidarity and that empathy. Because things can be better and people can get lazy, things can be worse and people can just get resentful. And so it's more about how you remember your place, make sense of your pain, know how to, like, direct it, and how to you like, grow a kind of capacity and facility in hardship, like, where you find your agency and your wisdom and all of those things.
Is the hope in some of the stuff you're talking about on the record, like the beginnings, passing things on, an inheritance to a child, is it finding hope in planting a seed that you may not see the fruit of?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yes, without any, like people say that, and I think they get sentimental about it, and I mean it very, like I hope to be a good heirloom. I hope to, like, come from good stock, and then also weed out what has been bad, so that I can provide a good future for my children, but also, like, be a good part of an ecosystem. To not be kind of Sevendusting the world around me, but to be something that, puts some nutrients back in the soil, something that's good compost. Yeah.
I mean, are you hopeful, or?
Yeah. I mean, I've started telling people at my shows, like, you've got to keep hope and not the cheap shit. I think, like, when I was in my 20s, I was really like, hope isn't real. There's just desire. There's just what you want. And I think that's because I grew up so religious in, like, a right-wing way. I realize now that, like, hope is real. It's just what's built. It's grown. It's got roots on it. Hope is something that has to be, like, nurtured and maintained, and tended to. And so I do have hope. I have hope in the ways that, like, humans are here because somebody has loved us into being for millennia upon millennia upon millennia. People have been fed. People have been cared for enough, even no matter how imperfectly cared for enough, to not destroy each other entirely and destroy the world entirely. And that is challenged every day. I'm not saying that lightly or naively. But that there's an innate kind of care and togetherness that is literally a part of our survival. And so I have hope in that, and I have fear and anger with the systems that predate on that thing that is a part of our survival and our joy.
Yeah. Finding the better instincts in a world where it can be almost too easy to, like, look out for yourself and forget the other guy. So
yeah.
Well, you got the record coming out. It's May 29th. How are you supporting it? Are you going out on the road for a stretch?
I'm doing a lot of touring. Yeah.
Okay.
Before the record comes out, next week, actually, I'm heading out with Carsey Blanton, true comrade. Very excited to be opening for her. And then I come back, I do the record. I got 2 record release shows, one in Chattanooga and one here in Nashville around the release date.
Okay.
And then I'm hitting the road with my buddy Noah Gunderson, opening for him a couple times this year. I'll be opening for the Montvales and then also Mama's Broke. So yeah, I'm touring a lot of opening dates. Hope to take the band out at some point if the money makes sense, because I love playing with the band. You know, you do solo and there's only so much that translates. So I tend to have like a more subdued set because I can do that well. But there's a lot of like rowdy that we don't get to do,
right?
That I don't get to do when it's just me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be touring the life out of it, and then, you know, being a musician in 2026 is about peddling that slop online. So I'm also going to be posting my reels and my TikToks and all that stuff. I'm too old to think that people should just care about my songs organically. Like I know sometimes you just got to be a used car salesman and get out there and just sell it.
Right. Yeah. You got to stay front of mind.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but until the algorithms change.
Yeah.
It's going to be me or Morgan Wallen.
Right. Yeah. Everyone needs a turn in the spotlight. So
that's right.
Oh man. So are you going to be doing like solo banjo on the road there?
It's just guitar really when I go out.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of songs. The thing that's a bummer is that, I guess it depends on your perspective. If all you care about is this record, it's for sure a bummer. But I kind of play songs from like across my catalog, because I'm fortunate enough to have like a couple of songs here and there that really fit well together as a whole set, without ever feeling like I'm just doing the unplugged version, you know?
Sure,
sure. I think a lot about like in the MySpace days, there were all these like pop punk bands that would just get like 2 acoustic guitars and just play like the worst version of their songs. And I'm like, I can't give anyone that experience. That sounds so miserable. So this is
the slowed down Layla, you know,
the slowed down Layla.
Don't do that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So I've got a good little set of those things, but it's, you know, it's a couple songs here and a couple songs there across the catalog.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's the economics, because I've seen so many musicians that I like come through town and it's like solo acoustic, and the thing that winds up sticking out to me is that a great song can translate to being stripped down to a solo acoustic rendition. It's like a gem where you see the different facets of like, you know, it may not have the loud dynamics, but you can appreciate a different side to a song when it's a good song.
Yeah, a supermodel's gonna look good in any outfit. Like they just got the cheekbones. Some songs just got the cheekbones.
There you go. You're taking your supermodels out on the road.
Supermodels only. Yeah.
Right. Fantastic. So tell me a little bit about. I'm just catching wind of. Do you have a concept of rewilding country music?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Can you talk about what that is?
Well, you know, rewilding has been a little bit in the zeitgeist lately. It's the kind of notion that you should kill your monocrop, you should kill your lawn, you should get rid of all these non-native plants that consume a lot of resources, don't do any, like critters can't use them. They're bad for pollinators. They're bad for wildlife. They're bad for water consumption, you know, all this stuff. And instead, like, bring the meadows back.
Okay.
So, you know, plant in blue stem instead of Kentucky bluegrass. Plant in, you know, your echinacea instead of your hostas. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, country music to me, when I hear most of Music Row country right now, I hear a list of like, and it gets complicated because I think part of being country is also having a relationship to like American overproduction. So you just get like a lot of trash, like you get the surplus of American life. So I don't. Is it like there's one thing to say like you have a proximity to consumer goods. There's another to say that you value consumption. And I think that in a lot of country music right now, there's a real value of consumption. Like it's suburban values, it's chain store values. It's a notion of the country that is not wild. It's a notion of the country that really, like, if you were to map the values that you're onto it, it would really fit more like your heteronormative nuclear family, where like there's, you know, money coming in and like you've got a nice well-kept lawn and you've got enough money to buy a nice bass boat, but you're not like doing the redneck ingenuity thing of like, I've got some scrap metal and some styrofoam and we can just push it off out there in the pond. You know, it's like, it's just all a little too put together. And so Rewilding Country music is about like getting the good stuff back together, you know, like keeping country music queer. Country music's always been like real queer coded. It's about like getting the outlaws back. It's about like getting rid of this kind of like lost cause nonsense, because the truth is like even a lot of white Southerners didn't want to go fight for the Confederacy because it was a rich man's war. Like there's all of this kind of country stuff out there, but country, you know, it feels like country music has become more about like songs for the country and not songs about the country, the ecosystem, like songs about countries and not country spaces. And so yeah, Rewild is about just like getting back a little feral, getting back a little crazy, getting back a little something kind of like wild.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then is it done under the auspices of a magazine? Is that what's going on?
I have a little zine that I've got at the table. You know, zines are like a pretty common part of like punk shows and the punk scene. And so I'm trying to like kind of radicalize the merch table a bit and like migrate some of those practices over to my little part of the world, in part because like I'm in this scene where like there is a kind of like consumerist approach to like kind of keep us happy and entertained and then, you know, go away. And I you know, when you sing autobiographically and you sing about things that really have roots on them, it's like it kind of rubs me wrong to be like, dude, the only reason I'm singing songs is because like I love my grandma, you know, like I sing these songs and I visit with people that I love and I visit things that matter to me, and I'm not bringing you like a kind of transaction, like I'm bringing you like history and people, and so like I'm gonna insist on having a zine about like what my perspective is, not because it's about me, but because it's about like the world that I've brought to you, and that I've brought with me.
Okay. It's your way of saying this is important to me and you'd like it to be important, you know, you're walking away from the merch table.
Yeah.
This is something further to put in your transom, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a little, it just a little bit, I think it resists the commodification of it all,
okay.
You know?
Okay. Just I'm not familiar with the zine concept, but I don't know. I maybe have gotten close to it. I saw Dave House and the Mermaid, and they dabble with being kind of the punk world, but buying the record at the merch table, I got presented with a little. It was like a pamphlet, and it was like each member of the band talked about their influences, and I was like, I had not come across that before. Is that what a zine is?
Most likely you got a zine, yeah. and for like, you know, depending on the punk scenes, the punk world's awfully big, and I'm certainly no expert in it, but, you know, like if you see a lot of there's plenty of political punk bands, like by and large it tends to be politicized. And it's a little bit like, hey, if you want the tape or you want the record, you've also got to take this zine about animal rights and becoming vegan, or like you've got like, if you want this, you also have to take some of the ideology with it, because that's what we're about, and we don't want you to kind of just be consuming us like it's a t-shirt.
Okay.
Like it comes with some commitments too. So that's what it is for me. And it's honestly done well. The other thing is I've started selling okra seeds with it. Now I can't do that when I go up north or go to the Midwest because it doesn't grow up there. Bad climate, which is why I'll never move. But you know, it's a little bit of like, it's like you're getting both, you know, like you gotta, what you get from me, you gotta grow.
Okay. And what do you have, like an array of zines, or is it one thing that's got all the stuff in it?
Right now it's just one.
Okay.
Because the zines kind of go like topic by topic. But I'm working on others. But it's slow going. I want to make sure that I get them right and I don't end up like spamming a bunch of slop.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. I mean, it's a whole new world here that I'm just becoming aware of.
Yeah.
All right. So, as a songwriter, who are some of your big influences?
Yeah. Oh, I love Roger Miller. I love Roger Miller. There's no better. Honestly, if you're a country musician and you don't rank Roger Miller in your top 5, I genuinely don't think you know ball. I think you're a cat. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, I don't even mess with you if you don't. If you're a writer and you call yourself country and you don't mess with probably the greatest writer that Nashville's ever had, and he's so playful and he's so emotionally complex. And he's so deliberate and also so improvisational. I mean, there's no one that can do all the things he does. He's an artist that AI will never be able to replicate. I mean, he's AI proof.
Cool.
And half of that is all the drugs he was on. But
Right.
You know, but still, like, I mean, there's no one better. There's no one that leaves me more like emotionally confused. It's like I just got put into like an emotional car wash and I got all tangled up and then spat out.
Sure.
So I love Roger Miller. I love David Bazan / Pedro the Lion. Not country at all, but you know,
Authentic.
just has very, and I learned so much about autobiographical writing from all of that. I don't think I do a lot of what he does stylistically, but I learned a lot about like what a song can do and what you're allowed to put in a song. And also, like, right now there's this thing of like really confessional writing that's just like, if I overshare, it's a good song. And you know, forget craft and everything else. If I overshare, it's great.
Right.
He also knows the boundaries of like, what's you being a voyeur and kind of what's you being kind of spectacular, and what's you being like kind of artful. And so I really have drawn a lot from him. And then, you know, I mean, I like my straight down the middle country stuff. Like, I don't know if Eric Church is a big writer. I think he's more of a performer, but he writes a good bit. Like, I love that Eric Church stuff.
Okay.
It's just good country stuff. It feels good. It doesn't feel too structured. Like, there's still a kind of looseness and playfulness in it. You know, and there's
countless, yeah.
Emmylou Harris and
Sure.
and you know, Casey Musgraves and John Prine's in there somewhere for sure. And, you know, all those, but yeah.
Yeah. And going back to the old time country guys, I absolutely love Don Gibson. Is he on your radar at all?
Not really, huh?
Okay.
I haven't done the deep dive.
Okay. So I'm going to deep dive into Roger Miller.
All right.
So
yeah,
check out Don Gibson.
All right, we'll do.
He was good enough for Neil Young to put on After the Gold Rush. He covered Don's "Oh Lonesome Me."
Oh, okay, yeah.
Turned it upside down. So, but anyway, I digress. This is So you got Heirloom, your fresh release. Now there was a little time gap between Wasted Love and Heirloom. Is that due to the whole, I mean, you're becoming a dad, your father died, your whole, you know, world getting crazy, or was it also a matter of like crafting these songs to be what they needed to be?
Yeah, it was all of it. Like, I think I got a little Wasted Love was like something I needed to do. I needed to get out of my system, and I learned a lot in doing it. But that record didn't perform like I thought it was going to. It wasn't received in the pockets that I thought it would be received in. And I think what I appreciate, I don't think, on it, if I'm being really honest, I don't think anyone appreciated what I appreciated about it. And I think I was too subtle with some things, and expected people to listen a little closer than they do. And also expected people who are close listeners to be patient with songs that were like just there to be fun. Like there was this kind of like, I was doing my first real stab at like full country music record, like unapologetically what I love about all of it. And that song really, I mean, that record really broke my heart. I did a Kickstarter for it. I don't have rich friends. I cashed in like a lot for that. And it meant a lot for me to do that. And it just did not, it just fell flat. And I didn't write a song for about a year after it came out because it killed me. Something in me died. And I also realized like, I'm not one of these that like will lick my wounds. I'm just like, well, what doesn't work, I need to grieve and process and get through. And in music, that means you need to come out not thirsty. Like you don't need to come out chasing something. You need to come out confident. But you also need to like decide that you're just going to work harder. Like it's this balance of being like, I trust that what I need will be there, and that like it's not on me to force a good song to happen. And also a good song will never happen if I don't put in the work. And so I composted the way I was writing songs. I composted what I wanted from music. I composted my idea of what would connect with people. I just decided like, I mean, honestly, Heirloom, it's funny, like I'm doing better in my music career than I've ever done. And Heirloom, I told my producer when we started, I'm like, I think this is my last record. Like if this doesn't do it, I'm done. Not that I'll quit playing music, but like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life being just producing vanity projects. Like that doesn't matter that much to me. I'll still have fun playing music. I'll put singles out, whatever. But like the cost that it takes to make a record, the fact that like we had to get childcare for a week for me to make Heirloom, like all these things, they got to be worth it at some point. And so, yeah, after Wasted Love, I didn't write for like a year. And I took the first song I think that really came out of that was Sevendust. So maybe I did write a little bit. I don't know, whatever. But I didn't really like do anything serious for a long time. Sevendust, I like had the verses for, I had the first verse for like a year before I did anything with it. And I wrote probably 15 different, I probably wrote 15 different choruses and just threw them out and threw them out and threw them out. Cause I was like, what my habits are, I need to like relearn. And I also need to keep showing up. And also like, if it takes forever to do it, that's fine. Like it'll show up when it needs to show up. I just got to keep doing the work. And so I ended up kind of just revisiting all of it through that time. And in the meantime, yeah, like life happened. And like I say, like I'm very practical about music. Like if life happens, then life is happening. And I love playing music. It drives me crazy when I can't, but also I'd rather be there when we put my dad on hospice. I'd rather like try to figure out how the hell to be a father, especially for the first time.
Right.
And know that like the music will follow. And I've also, I've also seen enough people, frankly, in the ministry, and also in the arts, decide that they're going to sacrifice all of those things for their project, for their expression, for their kind of vanity thing. And I think it's kind of sad and pitiful, and it shows that they don't have much. It shows in the things that they are voicing and in the things that they create. Because there's a kind of thinness to them that I don't, this is kind of like, if you show up to life, you're not going to miss the things that are important to you. And also, when you go to speak about your life, the substance will be there.
Right. And living that deep life, it will feed songs down the road as well, and give them the depth and the meaning that can connect. So,
and it's not like Spotify's paying me enough to care anyway. Like,
right.
Like it's not even paying the bills. Like it really is just for. It would be just for me. Like it'd be so vain.
Right. 1/1000th of a % of a stream. Yeah, that's not gonna keep the roof over the head. So, oh man. Well, Nathan, man, I've heard Heirloom. It's a fantastic. I mean, it's a fantastic record. It's like it's a work of art, and I think it says what country music can be, you know. And I it's just hear something that authentic, that puts itself out there is just it's really refreshing. And I hope it's gonna. I hope it's not going to be your last record. So, you know, if nothing else, man, getting out there and getting that the merch table going, because it seems like the merch table is what's keeping ours afloat now. So
ain't it? Yeah. But no, that those words mean a lot to me. I've tried to be really genuine in everything I do in country music. No cosplay.
Yeah.
You know. And so that means a lot to me. Yeah. For real.
So fantastic. All right. Well, so where can people find out more about you, about the record and what's going on?
Yeah. I'm on all the socials and I'm always yapping and running my mouth and whatever. So I'm over there on TikTok and Instagram. Not on Facebook anymore. I mean, I guess I'm technically over there, but I've got a Substack that I put a lot of love into.
Yeah.
It's a little more verbose. If you're looking for something that's like political and chatty, that's good. If that ain't for you, understood. And then I'm up everywhere you listen to music. And then the record's coming out through Free Dirt Records, so you can pre-order on their site as well.
All right. So yeah, get out there, get a copy of the new record. You won't regret it. So Nathan, thank you so much for talking to me, and you know, keep on keeping on.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.